guys, it's Tanya with Scraptastic Creations. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to create a 2-page layout and I'm going to use this Frames and Flowers Specialty Designer paper by Stampin Up. I thought this paper is going to go really perfect actually with my photos. And this kit comes with these papers right here. It's kind of a mini kit, but it's only 10 bucks. So what I really love about it is it has these extra pieces, and these are like, this is a strip, and these are die cuts, and they just like pop right out of the page super easily. So you have these fun cards and like this border strip. And then there's all of these fun die cuts for embellishments, and they make for easy, super fast layouts. So let me show you my photos real quick. This is my husband and I, and this is from a trip that we took for our anniversary to Cocoa Beach. And this paper right here is what made me choose this paper collection. I mean, I love this paper collection, but it's very tropical. We went to Cocoa Beach, and if you see the water in the background, it's these perfect green colors. And then my dress, I just thought it had all these fun colors in it. And if you follow me here on YouTube, last week I created another layout where we went to Cocoa Beach, but this is the same trip. I've never scrapbook like the whole trip, and I'm trying to do that. I've done layouts here and there of different places we've gone, but I want to do like our entire anniversary trip, and this is the last day. So this is the day we were on our way home. And last week I created when we arrived to Cocoa Beach, and I'll get to the other days, but these are this is a look at my photos. And I mean, can you see the umbrellas in the background and then my dress? And I just thought, like, yeah, this paper was meant for my photos. So let's get started. I'm going to use white cardstock for my background. And I went ahead and I cut this paper, the one that I really thought pull in all of my colors. And I'm going to use this on both sides going down. And then I'm going to lay out my photos. So I want to have this one here and this one down here. It'll be something like this. And then I'll lay out these photos here. I kind of want this one in the middle because it'll separate. These are both of me, and this one will go on this side. I also went ahead and cut a square out of this pattern. So I'm just going to bring this in and turn it diagonally on my scoreboard. Now you can, on my cutter, you can do this many ways. You can stick this on your mat and just use a ruler and your like your X-Acto knife. Or you could just draw a line and use your scissors. But I'm kind of lazy, and I just want this to be straight. So I'm just going to use my cutter, and I went up as far as I could go. Here, let me run that back through here. And then I'm just going to kind of pull it down and just try to be careful to keep it lined up, and then cut it the rest of the way. So make sure my blade is in there where it was, and then I'll just move it up. So I've got two pieces. I want to create some embellishments, and I really like this happy hibiscus. I love these flowers, and they matched my dress, and they're very tropical. And this also has a hybrid embossing folder, a happy hibiscus hybrid. And this is really cool. And if you've never seen one of these, oh, you got to try this. So I'm going to take the metal die, and I'm going to stamp my image. I'm going to show you. And then I'm going to stick my metal die and my stamped image in here, and I'm going to run it through my embossing machine. And not only is it going to cut it out, but it's going to put this impression on there, and it's going to look super cool. I'm going to start with my peach pie ink, and I am going to stamp those flowers a couple times so I have plenty of flowers to work with. And then I'm going to bring in the solid part of that stamp and use my Petal pink ink to shade them in. I want to line my die up, and I am going to add a little bit of washi tape. and put that in that embossing folder, and it will lock in place. You're going to put it on the side with that little black Stampin' Up sign, and aren't those beautiful? I love the detail of those, and I'm going to show you here real quick the back of this as soon as I get this tape off of here. But look at the detail on these flowers, and that image is impressed in there. I just think they're beautiful. So I'm going to mat all of my photos in this pretty Peacock cardstock, and I think this is going to help make my photos pop. And then I'm going to bring this back in and put this underneath over here, and put this one underneath over here. Okay, so I like how that looks. I do want to do a little bit of inking. So I'm going to bring in my pretty Peacock ink and a blending tool. And I am going to do a little bit of ink distressing around the edges. And that's just going to help my papers stand up off the background and give it like a nice finished look. This is an easy way to add detail to your layout. It's not necessary, but I really like the way it looks. So I'm going to do this to all my frames and these pattern paper right here. So I'm going to bring some of my favorite stamps in: Beauty of the Deep, Seaside Wishes, and Oceanside Friends. These are on clearance. So if you like any of them that I'm using, hop on down to the description box and see more, hit that, and it'll take you directly to my website, and you can grab them before they're gone. I want to use the die to this Ocean Friends. I'm going to use this die, and then I'm going to use these pieces. I already cut the sand dollar, and these are standalone dies, so they don't have stamp sets to go with them. I love that about the Stampin' Up stamps and dies. You got lots of standalone dies, and I love the detail. And then on the Beauty of the Deep, I am going to use this one right here. And to be honest, I have a couple envelopes with many colors of those because I want to create a lot. I want to create, you know, it's summertime, so I want to do my beach layouts, and I love these, and so it's that time. So I have tons of those that I have pulled out, and I want to play with those colors and play with them. And then I also want to bring in some of those die cut pieces from this paper collection. And I might even do a little bit of ink distressing around this leaf, or these kinds of leaves as well. Now let me tell you, these sand dollars I created in a video. I embossed these with embossing powder and white embossing powder, and I melted that ink. And this is done with a 3D embossing folder, just like these. That goes to this set, and this also locks into the 3D embossing folder, and it has these sand dollars on it. So I had already created those. I will leave that video linked in the description box below so you can check that out. These were super fun to make, and I love them. I think they turn out really pretty. I'm going to layer up all of these flowers, shells, and corals, and sponges. And I'm going to repeat my colors in all 3 embellishment clusters. And while I build those, let me tell you a little bit about my trip here. So this was an anniversary trip that my husband and I took in 2023, and we went down to Cocoa Beach. This is the last day of our trip, and we actually had already checked out of the hotel, and we were on our way home, and we decided to go to the Cocoa Beach Pier. We hadn't been there yet, but we were going to check out the restaurant. We were going to go for lunch and check out a restaurant and check out some of the shops. Well, we found this really cool restaurant. It was all the way at the end of this pier, and this pier was so long. And we got a table the furthest out that we could. So it was like right there next to the ocean, and I literally felt like I was eating my lunch in the middle of the ocean, and it was really cool experience. It was quite windy, but it was definitely well worth it. I wasn't really sure if the food was more exciting or the experience.
Who am I kidding? I had a lobster roll and I love lobster rolls, so maybe the food. But my husband does not like seafood, so I just love that whenever we go out or we're away for our anniversary, he always makes sure I go to a really nice seafood place, and it really means a lot to me. I treasure these little trips that we have. Now, I've only been able to take them since our kids have gotten a little bit older and we have adult children now, and we're able to leave our teenagers home with somebody responsible.
I'm going to add some pearls, and these are the antique pearls. I love these. I just want to add, I like how they, like, you see how they almost change colors? I love that. I'm going to add a few around each one of my embellishment clusters, and I did bring in this other little piece from those die cuts, and I just love these. These were a real fun, easy way to add my green and my leaves. Okay, these are coming out pretty good, and I apologize for all the loud banging in the background. It's thundering outside, so it's pretty loud. I want to try something, so I'm going to bring in a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to bring in my Lost Lagoon, my pretty Peacock, and my garden green, and I'm kind of just playing and experimenting here, so I might change this because I might not like it. And then I'm going to bring in some blending brushes, and I'm just going to add some ink up here, but I'm going to kind of give it like an ombre look.
I'm just going to use my blending brush to blend these inks here across the top, and I'm starting with Lost Lagoon, and then I'm going to move into the Pretty Peacock ink and then Garden Green. And after I blend them, I'm going to then take one of the inks and blend the colors together right there in the middle where they meet. And this is where I'm going to do this and then cut my letters out on this top of this pretty paper. So there I am bringing in the Pretty Peacock and just kind of blending that back in to smooth out those lines. I want it to be like an ombre effect as I put my letters on there, and I'm going to cut my top letters out in the two blue colors, and then the bottom set of my letters I'm going to have in the blue and the green color. And I'm going to spell Salty Kisses right there. I thought that was a pretty fitting title for my husband and I.
Aren't those really cool? I really love how those look. Now, looking at this and looking at my layout the way it is, I would have first thought that I wanted to use the pumpkin pie for my letters, but I am wanting to put a little bit of ink distressing back, ink blending back here, which is why I chose to do it these bluer green colors. But before I do that, I want to finish my journaling card. Now, this is just a basic tag, and I used the lighter side of the pumpkin pie because I wanted to make sure my ink really stuck out. And I did a little bit of edge distressing just like I did for the rest of these pieces. But I'm going to bring in my light Pretty Peacock Stampin' Blend. And I'm also going to bring in this Baker's Twine. And I want to use this ribbon right here. This is a white ribbon, and it's got kind of like these lines right here. Can you see that? I like that. So I'm going to use that as well to do the top of my tag. And I took a tool and I kind of broke that apart down there. I just kind of pushed it in so I could put my journaling tag right down in here. And then I'm going to add a date up here. So let's do that before we work on this. Okay, I don't need a very large piece of this. I'm just going to fold it over and then clip it off and tie this on here. Now I want to do, like, I'm taking this extra step because this is something that you're going to pull in and out of the layout, and I just wanted to kind of have this reinforcement, something for somebody to grab on, to pull it in and out, and it's just not, you know, flimsy. So I'm going to, I got, if I can separate this, there we go. So I'm going to tie it like that. I'm just kind of doing that, and I'll trim that up here in a minute. But I want this to be that Pretty Peacock color. So I'm just going to cut about this much. Now this dries really fast, like 20 seconds. But I'm just going to take the brush part. This is the bullet tip point part that I would normally use, especially when coloring. I use that. But I'm going to use this side, and literally I am just, and you've seen me do this before, I'm literally just going to color my twine this color about 3 times there. Flip it over, do this side, and then it'll wash right off my glass mat real easily. I love this thing. I really love this. I'm so glad that I invested in this mat. And it looks like I need just a tiny bit right there. Okay, perfect. And then I'm just going to take it and I'm going to tie it around the top here and make a little bow. Okay, easy peasy. All right, I think I want to add a little bit more of these die cuts into my embellishment clusters. I was thinking there needed to be a little bit more something here, so we could use these little flowers and we can kind of move them around to where they fit nicely. And then I will put one here, and then maybe one directly across from there. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty good. I kind of fit that in there. And then we'll bring one, let's put this one underneath. And this one maybe on top like this. Oh, that's pretty cute. And then I was thinking that I still think there needs to be a little something more, and I want to kind of put a little more of the white up here. And these leaves have that white background, so I thought that would be good. Actually, I really like that. And then I will pull this one in down here underneath of these. Okay, that's much better. And I'm not going to use that one. Okay, so I'm going to do my little inking back here. And I think I'm going to start with the Petal Pink, and then I might bring in the Peach Pie, because I definitely wanted to have more of the orange tone. But I'm going to start with this because it's a little lighter, and I want it to be soft, but I still want it to be closer to this color. Definitely want to be sure that I tap off onto something, because I don't want there to be a big blob right here, like a big oval of this color. So I'm just going to spread this out. Yeah, this is going to look nice. Give my title a little resting area and kind of fill that in a little bit right there. So, all right. I do like that. So let's try a little bit of that Peach Pie. Here's a quick look at the inks that I used on this layout in case you want to screenshot it. So I think that looks good. I'm going to commit and glue that down. Let me give you a closer look at those embellishment clusters. I really love how they layered up right there. I think layering your embellishment clusters, especially when you have flowers and you're combining it with shells and sea things, I think that is really pretty. I just love the way that looks. And it matches my scenery. Got some on there. Matches my scenery and my dress really nicely. So, and look at that title. Isn't that cute? That was super fun to create. So I love that. I hope you enjoyed this process video. And if you did, give me a thumbs up. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow my channel and I appreciate your support. As always, I will leave all the supplies I use linked in the description box below. Check out this next video. I really think that you'll enjoy it.